Hi everybody, it's Amir from GoOn Berlin. Today we are going to check out Checkpoint Charlie. One of the most well-known symbols of the Cold War, Checkpoint Charlie is the biggest tourist trap in Berlin today. Checkpoint Charlie was a crossing point in the Berlin Wall between the Soviet East Berlin and the American sector of West Berlin. Therefore, it was frequently featured in spy movies and books of that era. Today it is one of the crowdiest places in the city, and many vendors, pickpocketers and silly tourist traps make it difficult to learn about this place. Even though there are many museums around Checkpoint Charlie, there is also a lot of information outside free to explore. Soon after the construction of the Berlin Wall, a standoff occurred between the US and Soviet tanks on either side of Checkpoint Charlie. It began on the 22nd of October 1961 as a dispute over whether East German guards were authorized to examine the travel document of a US diplomat traveling to East Berlin to see the opera. On October 27th, 10 Soviets and 10 American tanks stood on either side of the checkpoint, facing each other barrel to barrel. An emergency military alert was broadcast to bases all over the world, and nobody knew what will happen if the situation in Berlin will escalate. Luckily, the crisis ended peacefully on October 28th, following a US-Soviet understanding to withdraw the tanks. The security booth in the site is a replica of the original one that stood here until 1990, and behind it two pictures of young soldiers, an American facing east and a Soviet facing west. If you survived Checkpoint Charlie intact, with your wallet still in the bag or in your pocket, walk on Zimmerstrasse until you reach the Berlin Wall itself. On one side of the wall, the museum Topography of Terror, and on the other side, the Federal Ministry of Finance was once the headquarters of the German Ministry of Aviation, headed by Hermann Göring, one of the most powerful figures in the Nazi Party. The enormous building was at the time of its construction the largest office building in Europe, with 2,800 rooms, 7 kilometers of corridors and over 4,000 windows. It was built in the typical style of National Socialist intimidation architecture, and it is one of the only Nazi buildings that survived the Allied bombing of World War II. When we cross the wall to the west side, we enter the museum Topography of Terror. It is located on the site of buildings which during the Nazi regime from 1933 to 1945 was the SS, the Reich's main security office, the headquarters of the SD, Einsatzgruppen and Gestapo. This building did not survive the Allied bombing of World War II. The museum is free to enter to all visitors without payment, and two main exhibition sites are to be found. The outdoor exhibition shows the chronology of the Nazi terror regime in Berlin between the foundation of the cellars of the Gestapo headquarters, where many political prisoners were tortured and executed. The inner exhibition is focused on the topography of the site, the buildings that stood here, and the history of the Nazi regime and the genocide they committed. On the other side of the museum we see two interesting buildings. The Martin-Gropius-Bau is an historical exhibition hall, and the House of Representatives is the State Parliament of Berlin. The remnant of the Berlin Wall here is my personal favorite one. No modern graffiti nor restoration work has been made here. We can actually see and feel the hammer strikes in the concrete at the time when the Berlin people destroyed the wall on their way to freedom. And that's it for today. If you'd like to know more, you're welcome to visit our website at goonberlin.com. We upload a video every week, so please also write in the comments below what interests you about Berlin, and maybe we'll make a video about it. So until next time, bye bye!